Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Growing Up Kayfabe NXT Generation Episode 2. Another week of NXT has gone by, which means we need to cover what has happened in NXT, so you, who hasn't watched NXT possibly, can know what's going on. Before we get started, this is the Yes and No of Wrestling podcast, the YEET and No YEET of Wrestling podcast. Make sure you please like the video, comment down below, talk some Wrestle Talk with us, share out to a wrestling fan or family member in your life. We appreciate all interaction. And subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. Getting into the episode of NXT this week, it starts off with Nikita Lyons, Carmen Petrovich, and going in a tag team against Thea Hale and Jada Parker. Now, great way to start off the show. This is just a genuine great way. Start off with action, tag team with some of your most hottest female stars, both physically and also in a literally I would say everybody except for Carmen Petrovich. Nothing wrong with Carmen. My thing about Carmen is I don't see it yet. You know, she was doing the sword thing at first, and then obviously that was just never getting over. The most I ever liked Carmen Petrovich was when she was in a relationship angle with Adonis. I used to talk about it regularly on Growing Up Kayfabe. Ever since then, I guess she's been around on Evolve, all kinds of stuff, and now she's in the stable or whatever this is with Natty. To which I like the presentation of Natty. I like the presentation of the stable, and I love the presentation of Nikita Lyons, the Evolve Women's Champion. It's just Carmen. I don't see what am I supposed to be seeing is my thing. What with Carmen should I be seeing that is supposed to make me go like, man, I'd love to see her on the main roster. Man, I'd love to see her in a big title picture. Man, I'd love to see her in a big main event. And it's nothing to do with well, she's new. I mean, Carmen's been around for a couple years now, doing a number of different roles. And right now she's playing two, both of which I don't really know why she has to be there. I don't really know why she has to be in Pedals de Mal. And I don't really know why she has to be with, the only one that makes sense is the Natty and Nikita. But I digress. We get a tag team, which is just overall good. It's good for Nikita and Carmen. And it's even better for Jada and Thea, who can cement some chemistry together, build a story that could, of course, as always, down the road with tag teams or anybody who's tagging up together, end in a split that ends up in a fight, which I would watch, like a hardcore match or a street fight or a falls count anywhere, some type of stipulation match with Thea and Jada. I think those two will put on a banger against each other. But tagging for now is just as good. They're having fun in the ring together. They make each other laugh organically. It's great. My biggest shout out of the night is to Nikita Lyons. Again, presentation, to where I think that's where she excels. Like she's like, if she's given everything 110%, she's given presentation 150%. Her entrance has always been good. I have always loved that. Of course, now we don't get that with her partnering with Natty, but she comes out with this dope spiked lioness mask. It was really cool. It was only half mask, and it was all gold and spiked. It was pretty sick looking. Check it out if I can't find a picture. If I can, I'm gonna put it right here. But it overall ends with Jada and Thea winning, which is the right move. Which again, at the end of it, in my notes, I put, I'm just waiting to see something of substance from Carmen, to which I saw nothing. It was the same thing I always see from her, and nothing every woman in the match stood out except for Carmen. So sorry, but that's a big issue I have. It leads into some backstage segments and backstage promos of I feel like it's always like the next part in the night belongs to Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights. It feels like the last few weeks is like it's where it immediately goes to. So we go to them talking about their tag team match that's going to happen tonight for the titles. It's a good swerve, and I think again I talk about this every week where NXT does this thing where they can swerve a little bit better than everybody else, where they do it in newer ways, where I never once thought that Tavion was gonna fight Miles or hate Miles or anything. I knew he held resentment, and even at their worst part, he literally always would be like, no, I'm cool, Miles, you guys can never take this, my brother. For the first time last night, he said something like, I don't know what I'm gonna do if we don't win those tag team titles, which immediately you're like, oh, in WWE wrestling match, you're like, oh, he's turning on Miles. They're not going to win, and then he's going to turn on Miles. Big swerve on us. They won anyway, because I think going into that, we all believed that Vanity Project have had way too many lucky wins. There's no way we're going to let them win clean over Tavion and Miles. And it was just time. And I don't know why NXT is the one that is no problem putting 2 belts on people. Regularly, the Sol Ruka, Miles Bourne, I believe Lyra had 2 belts at one point. Like, I don't know. And I'm not complaining. I think it's cool. I like people with 2 belts, especially if it's only for like a couple months or a couple weeks. It adds to a story. It adds to something, especially if they're not doing anything with their current title, which is ridiculous. But I digress again. We also finally get a Tony D'Angelo. Tony D'Angelo. I'm swimming with the fishes after that one. We also get a Tony D'Angelo come out, and he addresses Grayson Waller. What's great about Tony is that I was about to say it felt like a generic promo, but Tony has a way to make a generic promo feel strong. And I think that's where, if you're thinking about, like, what do I like so much about Tony? He has an it factor, and it's not a flashy, cocky it factor. It's just it. When he starts talking, it's fluid. It means something, and you believe it. So it can only go so far. Everybody knows Sammy syndrome, so like you can only go so far with that. But it's good. And he comes out and addresses Grayson Waller. He addresses everything that he said. But it is only for a little bit of time. As great, it's, why don't you come out here? Let's talk about it. Let's finish what we started. Of course, he's calling out Cruz, but he gets Grayson. So Grayson comes out, continues to not really spew the same shit, but let him know, I'm the money fight. This is the one you want. All this stuff. You're not gonna defend yourself against what I said. Cruz comes out almost immediately. It was like interrupt. Cruz Cruz had a great thing about his promo with camera angle, right? So I was almost gonna say, yeah, it's the same thing he says all the time, but it does get the crowd going when you start talking about like being a family man and being like a good person and who you are doing this for at home. Really always resonates with the crowd. People at home are always going to resonate with the fact that, especially if they're going to go see a show, they're paying hundreds of dollars to go see these characters and larger than life men and women that they look up to in ways. And then when they're telling their story in the ring, they resonate with something at home with them, because at home, these people are also working their ass off 40 plus hours a week, sometimes even more, just to provide for their pets, their kids, their wife, their mom, their dad, whoever it may be. That small little tidbit almost never gets overused, but when it does get used, it almost hits every single time. And what was great for Cruz was that as he starts cutting that, Grayson cuts him off, says he's going to say the same shit all the time, does his Grayson thing, but Cruz says, you're all for yourself, man. You're selfish. You're fighting for you. And it does feel like, oh yeah, I'm fighting for my family, for Boricua. But he does say, like, I'm fighting for, he says it in a more poetic way than I can remember how he said it, in the way that I don't want to botch it. And it was very nice. But he also is right next to what is clearly like a daughter, an older daughter, and her dad. And the dad's not like emotional or crying or anything, but he's just sitting there listening. And the moment Cruz like finishes by saying, like, when you have people at home that you count on you, that you got to support, that you got to work hard for every day, and you can see the dad start to like clap, and I was like, that worked for him, and it got the whole crowd going because it's already resonating. But especially if you're watching that Jumbotron scene, that little Tron scene, you can see the dad, you can see the daughter's doing the, that's right. And then, the dad's like, I respect that, big respect. So Cruz Montana's promo ended up being a lot better than I had anticipated it to be. But of course, I don't know if I was disappointed or what it was. I thought maybe Tony might have a little jab or something, but he just hits him with the go ass stone. Let's get it settled. Make a #1 contender match. I'll see you guys at Heatwave. Done. So, and it is official. It is set in stone, as they say. And it's going to be next week, Grayson Waller versus Cruz Montana for a #1 contender match. And I honestly don't know who they're going to have win that. I really don't know. I figure they're just probably going to do an old school NXT where they make it so that way it ends up being a triple threat match. So we'll see which way they end up going. It's one or the other. One or the other. But you tell me, if they have to pick somebody, who would you rather see in the title picture? Cruz Montana or Grayson Waller? Let me know. All right, we get that quick speed match between Zarya and Wren with the Wren QCC. So we get Wren, Zarya, speed match. Stipulation is obviously Zarya wins. She gets speed title. Wren wins. She gets to challenge Zarya for her North American title. Wren ends up taking it the distance and the time, which means that it's a draw, which means Wren wins. First of all, what happened because of like the timing and everything was we missed a dope counter into which Zarya sets up for the F5, but Wren pops up, fish hooks her underneath from the back, from the pop, and then jumps over her to do her, I think it's the final wrench is what she calls it. But either way, it's incredible counter, but they had to gloss right over it because the time ran out. They were confused. What's going on? Oh, what the hell? What the hell's going on? But it was quick. And then of course Zarya comes in, drops Wren, and now we're gonna get at Heatwave Wren versus Zarya for the North American title. Again, don't know who's gonna win that one because you could absolutely make Wren 2 belts holder. You could absolutely make Wren North American title. She definitely deserves it. I would honestly say more so than Zarya. I just don't know business wise who's more over or what's going on with that. We'll probably find out during the match. I think it's Zarya though, to be honest. After Vanity Project loses, they go backstage where they're pissed off. They're Michaela, I believe her name is yet again passing Keanu Carver as he goes to the ring for his match with EK Prosper. And they have, I don't know which way that's going to go. I don't know if they're going to end up doing like a manager thing where she leaves to manage Keanu. I don't know because I honestly like the way Keanu's story is going, but Keanu's story is cooking right now. So if she ends up being a partner with him, so be it. But speaking on Keanu Carver, I believe I might have said something about him in the podcast before, but I definitely have aired my grievances when he debuted. I was not a fan of this style of, I ain't trying to listen to nobody. I ain't trying to hear all that. I got a match. I don't care. And I'm like, but brother, it's wrestling. You have to acknowledge some of the kayfabe here. It's the part of it. So I was a little upset with that and for anybody who says, oh, let them cook, let the stories cook, I've let those motherfuckers burn my food plenty of times, okay? I've let them undercook my shit, okay? I'm going to criticize it whilst they're cooking. I'm gonna poke my head in the kitchen and be like, you can flip that. You can flip it. Go ahead. Or I'm going to poke my head and be like, yeah, that should have been off an hour ago. I don't know why this oven's still on. I don't know why this turkey's still in the oven. I don't know what's going on in here, you know? I'm going to do that because I'm head chef, okay? and they, well, that's kind of it. I tell them what to do and then they don't listen. So, but after Keanu's original part of his story of being this angry guy, tearing everything apart, not listening to anybody, last week, after he wants this match with EK, he calmly just announces that he wants it. He gets it, says it's all he wants. Cool. All right, bet, done. Calm Keanu. It's leading into what I think would be an expected, obvious thing that would happen in wrestling, which is that we would expect Keanu to come out this week and terrorize and destroy and be like, I gotcha. You thought I was going to be chill and cool. He comes out cool and calm and collected. He wrestles cool, calm, and collected. They even have a spot where he almost runs into Booker T at the table at the side, and he stops, and he looks scared because he almost hit Booker, and then he apologizes, asks if Booker T's okay. Says, are you all right? I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to do it. I'm sorry. EK Prosper hits him. He's kind of cool. He hits him, flying over the table, lands on the table, looks at Book. You good, Book? Which is, again, it just builds to the story because as a person watching, you're starting to build a likeness to Keanu. You're starting to feel like, I don't know what this is, but like I'm starting to like feel compassion towards him for this, and especially the way he's apologizing to Book. And then when EK hits him, you're like, yo, what? You know, you get a little ounce of anger at EK because you're like, yo, we had a moment. So it was an interesting spot to do that with EK, to think that like he's doing a good guy thing when Keanu was trying to reprimand for something that he had done. At the end of the match, Keanu wins with a roll-up, which they make sure to let you know that was a big shock to them. Big shock to me. Keanu has obviously been painted as a dude who's going to put you through walls, tables, the ring, and pin you, if at all. But he rolls him up to pin him. And then he thanks him and says thank you for the match. And then he walks away all calm. Like, does a lot of these. It's all good. And he walks away super calm. And that was the end of the night for Keanu Carver. No, later on, he destroyed a car or something like that. It was done. So whatever this is for Keanu, this is perfect storytelling. because I'm interested. I'm locked in. I want to see what happens next week. I want him to continue to be a good guy. I like him. I like good guy Keanu. I like Keanu Carver. It's cool. Being nice is cool, guys. Two backstage segments that I think are important to talk about. One, Mason Rook coming in to confront Grayson Waller whilst Grayson Waller's having a yet again repeat moment with Kaylani Jordan. Not for Grayson, but for Kaylani, coming in talking about, and when I win the NXT Women's Champion, girl, when you win the NXT Women's Championship, I will not watch any of those segments. I will make sure I either walk away from my TV or turn it off. I will not be watching any of your segments if you become NXT Champion. Period. I'm not going to do this whole, boycott or anything. I'm just simply not going to watch when you're on screen. Because I already hate when you're on screen already. I can't imagine I'm going to like it anymore when you're on as a champion. I'm not going to go, oh, wow, good heat. I can't wait to see her heel versus... I don't care. I don't like Kaylani Jordan. I'm not a fan of it. I don't care about it. I think she's a dope wrestler. You ask me, I can't... How am I going to sit there and I would be an ignorant asshole if I was like, she's not even good in the ring. I just don't think that she's a good character. I don't like it, good or bad. I gave her bad girl thing a chance. It sucks. I don't like it. Actually, I'd rather probably her be a good guy at this point. But anyway, I digress. Mason Rook comes in, confronts Grayson Waller about it. Grayson Waller, I'm glad they didn't go too far because it looks like he was just going to make fun of his weight, which Grayson Waller is good in that way, where the way he did it was a little bit more artistic, to where he says, look at you, lad. You don't know anything you don't know about a day of hard work in your life. You know, alluding to like, yeah, you don't work hard because you don't work hard on your body. You don't care. Doesn't really get too far because here comes Cam Hendricks, pissed off about his girl getting felt up by Austin Theory, and he comes in, pow, and they start fighting, which is just an awkward moment because Grayson Waller, he's like, yeah, go, boys, get him, fight, go, get you guys, go fight, and I'm like, he should have just walked away. I thought that would have been way cooler than him just standing there like it's middle school, shouting fight. Weird. At the other backstage segment was more of just a cliffhanger. And it's Robert Stone backstage on the phone. Oh, so you're a free agent and you want to talk? Let's do this. So who are we going to get? No clue, because I haven't heard any rumblings recently. Normally when this comes up, you've already heard rumblings in the past few weeks of somebody from a different promotion that is a free agent that is able to possibly come over to WWE. And we've already been thinking about it and booking it. But right now, as far as I don't know anybody that they've been trying to bring in. So this will be a total surprise so far. So I'm really looking forward to possibly next week where we get somebody brand new. I don't know. Very exciting, though. But those were the two backstage segments I thought to be the most important. Now leading to the main event. Lola Vice versus Kendall Gray. First ever time NXT Women's title being defended in a underground match. NXT title in general being defended in an underground match. Lola Vice, the queen of the underground, hasn't lost the underground. I've been, you could quote me on this podcast saying before, I do not like the underground match. I don't think it makes much sense. I don't quite like it. I don't think that taking off the ropes and making the crowd, like the arena, dark, and then also just putting wrestlers at the side makes it any more interesting, in my opinion. That being said, Lola and Kendall went out of their way to make this an incredibly interesting match. Whether the ear thing with Kendall be kayfabe or not, it felt real. And for them to cut the commercial and bandage her up like that felt more real. It also felt a little bit more kayfabe because like it's one of those, like if her ear was actually bleeding that badly, they would probably just stop the match. But who knows? Who knows? We'll find out probably this week how kayfabe or non-kayfabe that was. But it is an incredibly back and forth match with Lola usually getting in her main kicking offense, her main submission offense, fighting back as per usual. Kendall's actually really good in this match type. And it does end with Kendall getting the armbar in and actually defending the NXT title with Lola and her ending the night, raising each other's arms in the middle of the ring. Lola extremely emotional. And I was already thinking this as it was happening. I thought, I don't think that Kendall's going to lose because it might be too quick. And then I thought it actually might make more sense for Lola to lose. And it all clicked. Oh, that's right. Lola's never lost this match. We're going into a big main event NXT title match. This is Lola's match. And this is the new girl, Kendall, who's going to be probably in NXT for at least the next year or two before she gets called up. So this is a put-over match. We're putting over Kendall. And what better way to do it than by Lola, before she's done in NXT, go up to SmackDown or Raw by putting over Kendall in her match form, losing in her number one match that she's never lost in, and tapping out to an armbar like that, which was devastating. They didn't do some like, oh, Kendall's got it in. No, Kendall did she wrapped it and bent it. It was deep. So it looked good. It was a good loss. It was a good match. It was a great way to go out. So I'm speculating. I don't know. I'm assuming that Lola's going to go up to either Raw or SmackDown soon. And that's why she's so emotional, because that might more than likely may have been her last match in NXT, or at least her last main event. So, or at least, her last match fighting for the NXT women's title. So I would assume though she'd be going up soon. She's been in NXT for quite some time. She's been doing the AAA for a long time. She's been doing both so she's definitely, in the eyes of corporate, you can tell that easily she's somebody that would impress and hit every single check mark. So, yeah, we'll see which one what she goes up to. You guys let me know what you think. If she's gonna go up, where she's gonna go up to. If she's still gonna be in AAA more regularly, and how often do you think? If she's gonna go up to the brand, what fights do you think you'd like to see her in? And let's just be thankful that LWO isn't around still, because if it was, you better believe she would just go right up to LWO. But it's not. So luckily, we can just have Lola go up into one thing's for sure, if she goes to Raw, the Judgment Day is going to be like, what's up, Lola? You should hang out with us. And I guarantee it's going to turn into a thing of like Lola versus the Judgment Day. Lola and Stephanie and a couple others. Judgment Day. There's 3 girls in Judgment Day. Then they add Nikki and Brie Bella. That's 5. Then you do Lola, Stephanie. You do Becky. And then you do Paige. And then somebody help me figure out the 5th. And then that's War Games. Oh, shit. We might have War Games. All right, guys. That's the end of NXT. All right. I'll see you guys next week with another NXT generational update. Bye, guys. Bye. Bye. Bye.